30 away. 20. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first official meeting, in a way, of 2023. Welcome again. And it's the Wednesday, January 18th meeting. And we are joined by a new celebrity. No, is she on? Is Sarah on yet?
Good morning, I'm on.
Okay. So, Sarah, welcome. For the last few months, we've been a commission of 7, but Sarah, we are now 5. Congratulations, a bunch. And if you want to say anything, welcome to the world.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. The girls were born yesterday, so a little bit early, so they're going to take some time in the NICU, but they didn't need oxygen or anything, so it looks like we're going to be able to promote them to the special unit pretty soon, and then they'll have their own room, and it'll looks like things will progress pretty quickly just because they're doing so well. So I appreciate you letting me get on today over Zoom and being able to still participate in getting to vote on some of these things that are important, and I'm really just excited to share that my daughters are here and they're healthy and I'm doing good. So couldn't really have asked for anything better.
Well, Sarah, what a trooper to be here today on Zoom. So obviously you take care of yourself and your family, and we'll hold the fort down. We look forward to seeing you soon. Okay, with that, we'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk.
Invocation to be observed by a moment of silence. Please remain standing for flag salute.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, please.
Okay, roll call. Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner
Present.
Dennis.
Present.
Commissioner Beatty.
Present.
Commissioner Howell.
Present.
Chairman Meitzner.
Present. Next item, please.
County announcements.
Nicole, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I am Nicole Gibbs, Director of Strategic Communications. Today I have Deputy Director Jonathan Marr and Operations Officer Cody Charvet here from Emergency Management to talk about Civic Ready. Gentlemen.
Morning, Jonathan. Are you winning another award today?
Gosh, I hope not. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Jonathan Marr, Deputy Director for Emergency Management. Julie was unable to be here today, but our Operations Officer, Cody Charvet, and I are here today, and we're excited to announce that we are launching a new layer in our warning strategy, and that's going to be Civic Ready Alerts. There's been an appetite for this type of service in recent years. This project was initially began with emergency communications, and through the TRB process, it was determined that emergency management already possessed the tools necessary. We just needed to further develop them. So I'm going to invite Cody Charvet up here to walk us through how this is all going to work.
Okay.
Thanks, Cody.
Welcome, Cody. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner and Chairman. Thank you for letting us present to you today. As Jonathan mentioned, we're talking about the Civic Ready public alerts. We've had Civic Ready in-house for 6, 7 years, something like that. We've used it for internal notifications. And as he mentioned, when 911 began looking for something to expand to, or rather to implement reverse 911, we realized we already had a tool that would allow us to do that. We just needed to expand how we were using it. So when people visit the website that we're going to show you to sign up for this public alerts, they're going to have the option to sign up for community bulletins, public safety alerts, and health alerts that they'll get on their email and on their phone. Right now, they can only sign up for our 2 test cities, which are Wichita and Mount Hope. We have about a dozen more that have expressed interest in coming on board, and we'll be getting their personnel trained and those cities added to the sign-up page in the coming months. If someone in another city has no interest in Mount Hope or Wichita right now, that's fine. They don't need to do anything except be patient. We will get more cities added. We'll make another announcement when they're available, and those cities themselves will be helping us promote at that time as well. So you can find the link to the sign-up page on the sedgwickcounty.org website. You can go to wichita.gov or eventually mounthopecity.com. I believe they had a little delay in getting theirs up, but they'll have it up soon. Whoops, I'm sorry, got a little ahead of myself there. Now I've drilled. There we go. And the mouse isn't working. Technical difficulties, wonderful. Okay, sorry. What I meant to do was go to the sign-up page itself. There we go. All right, so when they find the link to the sign-up page, it will take them to this, the public alerts within Sedgwick County. We've strongly encouraged folks to read through the information that's here so that they know what they're signing up for. Maybe click on the FAQs and look through those as well. And if there's an email address there, if they have any questions, they can contact us in emergency management. And then when they're ready, they click the green sign up button, and it will take them to this page here. Again, they should read through the information at the top of the page here and then start filling out their fields, the name and email address, everything that they want to receive an alert on. If they want to get it via email, they put that information in here. If they want to get it via cell phone, via text, via voice call, whatever they choose, they should put this information in here. It is important that they enter a location as well, because sometimes the sender of the message will not send it to the entire city list. They might want to send it to just a specific neighborhood within the city of Wichita, for example. It's a very localized alert. And so they need to enter this information so that the person sending the alert, when they draw the polygon on the map, it will know who wanted an alert within that particular geographic area. Now, I want to stress that we are not doing anything at all with this contact information or this location information beyond using it to alert people. There's no data mining here whatsoever. It's strictly contained within this Civic Ready program. One of the things that we're really excited about here is the language preferences. If you use these drop-down menus, you can select any one of 69 written languages or 31 spoken languages, I think are the numbers. And it get an automatic translation provided by the software. If you don't select anything, it just defaults to English. And then you see the alerts that they have the option to sign up for under the City of Mount Hope and City of Wichita. They're the same alerts. The community bulletins, which we expect to be non-emergency local news like city government notices, service interruptions, local road closures, special event information. The health alerts will be sent by Sedgwick County Health Department, and you see the potential examples here: boil water advisories, outbreak or other local health concerns, vaccination events. And then the public safety alerts, which will be sent by the 911 supervisors for any police, fire, or EMS situations that they or the supervisors see fit out in the field. It might be an evacuation or a shelter-in-place warning. It might be a missing person information, etc. Then it also has the option to sign up for weather alerts that you can get in text or, as you see down here, voice calls on these. For any of the ones that you see there, these are automated within the system. We have no input in these whatsoever. As soon as these warnings are issued by the National Weather Service, it will automatically push a message through to the Civic Ready users who have signed up for them. After they enter all their contact information and select their notification features that they would like to get alerts on, we, again, encourage them to read through the terms of use, agree to those, click the I'm not a robot box, and then click on the green Sign Me Up button. Now, when they click the Sign Me Up button, they will get a notification email or text alert at that point that they need to follow the link that's in there, because that will then finish setting up their account and get it fully activated. If they ever want to change any information, they go back to this page here, and you'll notice the very bottom button there. For existing users, they can modify or unsubscribe to modify their choices or unsubscribe from the service whatsoever. That really is the long and short of it. So if I can get back to my original page here. And it just doesn't want to cooperate. Let's try this another way. There we go. Well, good grief. Sorry about that. The presentation doesn't want to launch, so we'll just do it from this slide right here. Just to kind of highlight what we've talked about so far, this is free to the public, and if the alerts are needed, it's going live today, so if there's a need to send an alert, the alerts will go out today. Again, it's only available in our 2 test cities right now, with more cities coming in the months ahead. Want to stress that this is opt-in only for most alerts. This is something you have to sign up for. It's not going to be automatic except in the reverse 911 feature. And I forgot to mention that as we were going through that. When that person sending the alert has the ability to send it to just that specific area within a city, they'll draw a polygon on a map. And the locations that were entered during the sign-up phase will be notified, and it also automatically goes and finds any published phone number within that polygon, whether those people have signed up or not. If there's a published business phone or a landline phone, it will find those numbers and initiate a voice call to them. So that's that reverse 911 capability that emergency communications was after. This does not replace iPause, so as an emergency management, we will still be sending out, when appropriate, we'll activate the EAS through television and radio. We'll send out WEAs to cell phones as well for life safety incidents. And finally, this is just one layer in that layered approach that we encourage people to take, because nothing is 100% effective 100% of the time. You have to have multiple layers to get that critical life-saving information. You're still going to need something to wake you up at night. You're still going to need something to alert you when the power is out or your cell phone is dead. So very high-level overview. I don't want to get too far down into the weeds, but certainly we'll answer any questions you might have at this point.
Yes, Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. I live in Derby, so I'm very interested in this. But since my address is in Derby, a lot of the alerts are Wichita. I'm not very far from Wichita. Is there any way I can still sign up and get Wichita alerts?
You can sign up for as many cities as you want once they all go live. You can sign up for both of them that are on there now. And then Derby has opted not to, at this point so far, they're not going to do the community bulletins. But we will eventually do public safety alerts and health alerts for Derby.
I guess what I'm saying is that even though I live in Derby and I don't want to wait for them to say it's okay, I'd like to give it a Wichita address because I'm not very far from Wichita. I'd like to see those alerts even though I'm not technically in the city. Is that something that's okay?
It's fine.
So I have to maybe come up with a Wichita address.
You can use your office address.
I could probably do that one, yeah. And that was probably my number one question. You already talked about the unsubscribe feature, which I think is awesome. I just want to say thank you for doing this. This is pretty exciting. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Cody, one question. I didn't catch. Is this the thing where press 1 in acknowledgement on or press 2 or something? Whatever.
If you get a voice alert, it might prompt you to press 1 to acknowledge, but it's not necessary if you do, because we have that now in when we use it for internal notifications. It'll be like press 1 to confirm receipt of this message.
Right.
We don't track whether or not people are receiving it, so it's not necessary.
Okay. And then if I can indulge, I think the Sedgwick County Association of Cities would be very interested in seeing
And
this.
we have presented this to them. And
you have? Okay.
Yes, and we've got 12 other cities that have responded back to us already. They're just in waiting. What we're going to do is over the coming months, we'll get their personnel trained because they need to know how to add the send-only users. They need to know how to do the community bulletins. But it should be a quick process to get the rest. We didn't want to launch it for every city because we know there's going to be bugs. We don't know what we don't know at this point, so we want to get those bugs worked out, make sure we've got the first group of users properly trained and didn't skip something in their training before we train up the rest of the cities.
My last question is it just within the boundaries of Sedgwick County, or does it go across
No, it's
the county?
just within Sedgwick County.
Okay. All right. Any other
Although,
questions?
I mean,
Go ahead.
somebody outside of the county could sign up for it. If they live in Wellington but work in Wichita and they want to sign up for Wichita alerts, there's no problem with that.
Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any. This is a really nice, thank you for doing this.
You bet.
I've heard this in other parts of the country and to some great success. So which is hopefully you just mirrored that and didn't have to invent it too much. So good. Thank you very much, Cody. Jonathan, have a good day. Tell Julie hi from us all. Okay.
Thank you, Emergency Management. Next up, I have Elizabeth Wingo from Risk Management to reveal the 2023 safety poster.
Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Wingo. I'm the Risk Management Coordinator. I have with me today Sean Dowd, who is the Safety and Training Officer. And today we have the pleasure of revealing the 2023 Employee Safety Poster. So a little bit of history for folks. Each year we ask Sedgwick County employees to submit slogan ideas that could eventually end up on the safety poster for the following year. And it's all a way of engaging employees in the safety process and safety programming here, and giving them a chance to have some extra pride. And ultimately they have the option, if their slogan is picked, to be featured on the poster itself. So we are very happy today to have with us David Stark from ComCare, who is this year's winner. And I'm going to reveal the poster and then add a few extra details of things I'm really proud of for this year. So this year, our slogan is Strive to be Accident-Free in 2023. And you see David there on the far right. But the other pictures I really want to talk about. So last year we did Safety Month in October, and these 3 pictures are all from Safety Month training courses that we offered to employees. So we partnered with EMS to offer CPR training to employees. We partnered with the Sheriff's Office to do self-defense training, and then we partnered with Fleet to do defensive driving and basic vehicle maintenance. So those classes will continue into the future, but we thought it would be fun to feature them for 23 to continue to build that momentum in the safety programming that we're doing here at Sedgwick County.
Very good.
Any
Elizabeth?
questions?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Does Sean want to say anything?
No, I don't believe
Good
so,
morning.
sir, not at this time.
Okay. Well, any questions from or comments? Don't
And
see
if the
any?
commissioners
Okay,
will
thank you.
indulge us, we'd like to present David with his framed copy of the poster and do a picture with you all.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Would you like us standing?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yeah. Thank you. Can you airbrush Commissioner Lopez in that picture?
That's all I have. I'll stand for any questions.
All right, Nicole, thanks. Thank you for helping us kick off the new year.
Welcome.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Public agenda.
Commissioners, we did not receive any emails as the 5 o'clock deadline approached, yesterday, so no emails there, but we do have a couple people signed up for the public agenda. First one would be Andrew Crane. Morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
You have 5 minutes to address the commission.
Yes. I am here to address you on what the National Federation of the Blind is doing. And I gave you guys some initiatives that the Federation is doing. And one of them is the Medical Device Act. And that is the initiative that the Federation is taking on getting all medical devices in Braille and voice activation. A lot of the medical devices today are not in Braille, and even taking your temperature are not in Braille. So That is one initiative that the Federation is doing. And there's several others on job and work also. And also, we are trying to get the local NFB of Kansas is trying to get Newsline back up and running in Kansas. And we are looking for state funding. And the bill is going to be announced and still getting worked out and ironed out for the bill. So just wanted to let you guys know to be looking out for that on the state agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Thanks for the updates. It's always appreciated. Any comments, questions from the commission? Commissioner Lopez, I keep forgetting to ask if you have any questions, so feel free to interrupt if I miss you.
Okay, will do. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk, make a motion to receive and file on the public agenda.
Second.
Any other questions? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty,
Aye.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Next item, please.
Consideration of minutes. Item A, regular meeting minutes of December 7th, 2022.
Commissioners, you've had a chance to review the minutes of the December 7th. Are there any changes, corrections, additions? I don't see any. Thus, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 7th.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty,
Abstain.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please. Oh, excuse me. Van, you had it signed up. I assumed you wanted to talk on this one, or did you want to address the?
After the video plays, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just assumed that and went on. Okay, thank you. All right. Next item, please, again.
Proclamations. Item B, proclamation declaring National Mentoring Month.
Okay, I've asked Commissioner Howell if he'd like to read this.
Thank you, Chairman. I am very pleased to be able to read this proclamation this morning. It says, whereas the number of youth living with a single parent has doubled over the past 5 decades, representing nearly 25% of American households, and a growing number of youth are emerging from the pandemic needing nurturing adult guidance. And whereas evidence shows that youth who are mentored experience improved mental health, fewer disciplinary issues, strengthened family connections, healthier peer relationships, and other positive outcomes, and mentored youth are more likely to stay connected to their faith while developing a purpose-driven life. And whereas youth who are mentored have a greater likelihood of graduating from high school, attending college, developing labor force skills, forming healthy relationships, building social capital, and supporting local retention efforts that assist in sustaining Sedgwick County neighborhoods, as well as its economy. And whereas Youth Horizons is a homegrown, faith-based Christian ministry with more than 3 decades of humbly providing youth mentoring, residential services for foster youth, and advocacy efforts for at-risk youth and their families, with a mission to empower children and their families to be healthy and productive members of our community. And whereas Youth Horizons appreciates our existing mentors, volunteers, church partners, generous donors, and other supporters while actively recruiting new mentors and advocates within Sedgwick County. Now therefore be it resolved that Chairman Peter F. Meitzner and the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners do hereby proclaim that January 2023 as National Mentoring Month in Sedgwick County, with the optimism that Sedgwick County residents will open their hearts, explore options for serving youth, and answer the call to becoming a mentor for a child in our community. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased to read that. I would make a motion to adopt this proclamation.
Very good. Thank you. I'll second that motion. No other comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis. Commissioner Beatty.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye.
And
Motion
with the, so today I see Robert Gardner and a few others in the audience, but this is going to be received by Van Williams. So you can come forward. I understand there's a video as well. So thank you for being here today, and I'll hand this over to Nicole.
My name is Michael Thompson. A little bit about myself. I'm like 17 now. I'm going to North High. I like drawing. Honestly, like if it comes to my head and my imagination is like crazy, then I draw it.
My name is Jeff Isaacs. I've been involved with Youth Horizons through Riverlawn Christian Church for decades now, with different ways. And I kept seeing these faces on their board of children that were waiting for matches. And Mikey, he had been on the waiting list for a couple of years, and just my heart went out to him, and we started this connection. We've been hanging out for 10 years now.
Usually we just hang out. They're kind of like another family to me. So like it's pretty natural when we hang out. We don't do much, but like what we do is pretty fun. Yeah, he has 4 sons. There's 3 older than me and 1 younger. And like I said, they're kind of like my brothers. We're all pretty close. We do pretty much everything together when I'm over there. So yeah.
I think Mikey likes it best when the boys are around. So, you know, they're more, I'm not as cool as them. But our little boy, Zeke, he's always asking about Mikey, wanting to pray for Mikey, and loves seeing Mikey, and, you know, to have him over at different special events or different things. But yeah, we're definitely, it doesn't end at 18 for us. He's a Thompson, but he's an Isaacs in our mind in a lot of ways.
Mr. Jeff is like kind of both of a role model. He's a pastor, but I wouldn't say he's always throwing in the Christian advice. Like, yeah, he's been a pretty good role model because he got me right. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, a more spiritual perspective on life. Before he came into my life, it was more self-centered. I would try and do anything myself because I didn't have a dad, so it was like more of a, what can I do?
We've done lots of things. Church has been a big part of what we've done, some faith stuff. Exciting that he got to go to youth conference with us, and I got the privilege of baptizing him after that, which was really cool. Being with Mikey and being in a relationship for 10 years now, it's not just with Mikey, but it's with his mom too, Marlita, who is doing the best she can. It's great to have that relationship and see a mom who cares a lot about her son and wants the best for him. And when you deal with Youth Horizons protege, the opportunity to influence and to love on people is not just one person. It extends beyond that to their family even. I would say to anybody who's thinking about it, man, if that's on your heart, there's a clear statement throughout Scripture that we are to be there for those, and maybe especially for those who maybe have had some knocks in life and just need some encouragement and some love. So I would encourage them to wholeheartedly do whatever you do unto the Lord is blessed. So keep doing it.
Second. Thought we were going to get a second video. Good morning, Chairman Meitzner and fellow commissioners. I'm Van Williams, Vice President for Mentoring and Strategic Communications for Youth Horizons. I'm also a former Sedgwick County employee. It's good to be back before you to say thank you for the proclamation, but also thank you for your continued service in this community. I'm joined this morning by Robert Garner, our President of Youth Horizons, and Joy Akins, our board vice chair, and I think you all know Joy from her excellent work with the chamber. I want to provide some quick data points to support that video. Kids who are mentored are 52% less likely to skip school. They're 130% more likely to hold a leadership position in a club or sport, 55% more likely to enroll in college or find a trade, 78% more likely to volunteer in their community, 90% more likely to later become a mentor themselves, and they're 78% more likely to volunteer in their communities. Mentoring matters. Thank you for allowing us to spread that message. Youth Horizons has served in this community for more than 3 decades. We operate in 3 areas: mentoring, we provide housing for kids in the foster care, system, and we do advocacy work. That's raising awareness and enhancing collaboration around the needs of the families we serve. So today is an example of that advocacy work. We need to work with our government partners too, so thank you so much for having us here. Robert's going to come up and give an update on a residential project that this body had a significant role in.
Yes, and so thank you, commissioners, for your unwavering support of this project in 2020. The zoning project was kind of a daunting journey for me personally, and it was my first to have ever gone to do such a thing, and we met opposition and we found ourselves in settings where it was tough. But ultimately, as we stood before you, you granted support of the project, and so I want to say thank you very much. We are serving young girls as of October. We have built 2 homes and a multi-purpose facility, and here is a picture of one of the homes. And this is the picture of inside the home, just a state-of-the-art facility with lots of conversation around what style of home and what the concept is going to be to ultimately serve the girls. We're serving girls 5 in each home. Here's a picture of the kitchen, and thanks to Hutton and their design team for bringing a concept to us that we felt was more therapeutic in nature. Our goal is to put 6 homes on the property, and we also are using the multi-purpose activity center that we put there. I'm not sure if there's a picture of that or not. Nope. But that's where schooling happens. Our girls will go to Valley Center Public Schools, but some girls we keep on the property for virtual learning, and so we're using that also for physical activity and staff training, and it's going very well. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Joy, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you here this morning, and thank you for your service in this moment you've taken. I know you have a lot of serious business to cover this morning, but honestly, the people that you serve are the most serious business, and you know that. That's why you ran for the office where you serve. I'm fortunate to be a second-generation Youth Horizons supporter. Long before I was in Wichita, my in-laws were supporting this organization, and I've just sort of inherited the ability to do that and love the work that they do. We did open the girls' home, and that is amazing. And of course, for many years, we've served boys at Kinloch Price Boys Ranch and done an incredible job, and their homes are also wonderful. And I think if you look at the quality of the buildings and the quality of the programs, you can see the heart of the people that serve our children, some of the most needy children in our county. And I want to, as a former local elected, I want to ask you, as our current local electeds, to lean into conversations around foster care and homes. There's a lot of things going on. There's more need now after the pandemic than there was before. And there are serious issues with the system that need to be addressed. There are people that work with these students at places like Youth Horizons or Wichita Children's Home. They have insight into the issues that are happening and why. But they often don't have a voice with local or state electeds to explain those problems to get them changed. So I'd ask you to lean in on those conversations when you have the opportunity so that we can help make sure that the children who need the most help in this community get it and become productive citizens and rise to the next generation. So thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you. There's a couple of questions, comments. Commissioner Beatty.
Yeah, I would just let me just give a sincere thank you to Youth Horizons. I'm very familiar with you from a different capacity and supported you in a different capacity. And to see you here today and to see the girls' home now built too is just a profound thank you. And I would tell you, Joy, thank you for being here and your comments. I believe at this commission and certainly in this seat that those children will have a voice. In Sedgwick County, we have 1,200 kids in foster care. We only have 600 homes. I see data every single day that suggests that the average placement, when a child gets to 4 placements in foster care, 70% of those children will end up in the criminal justice system less than 60% of them will even graduate high school. That's at 4 placements. In Kansas, we're averaging 9 placements. So you're standing in the gap for these kids. It's you that are standing in the gap for these kids while we meddle through fixing this travesty of a system. So they'll have a voice here, but you're the voice, you're mentoring them, you're loving them, you're the safe shelter for many of these kids. And I just, from this seat, I just want to say a profound thank you for what you're doing, because it certainly is impacting this community. So I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you, Commissioner Beatty.
Thank you, Ryan. Commissioner Howell.
Well, thank you, Chairman. So I just want to say again, I echo the comments of Commissioner Beatty. Thank you for what you do for our community. I have been following Youth Horizons for a long time. I've done some of their, don't laugh, but I've done some of their little runs. You can't tell, but that's always fun. And you guys have been really great in this community. Our church has been involved in some of the Christmas parties for the kids, and my kids have been mentors, as well as one of my sons actually worked at Youth Horizons for a number of years. So we have a little bit of a greater understanding maybe of what you guys actually do, but I'm just really thankful for Youth Horizons, and I know they're not the only mentoring group in the community. There are a few others, and I want to say thank you to all of them. I took the training to go to be a mentor for Youth Thrive. I never finished the last step, so I still want to get to that. But I just want to say that I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but in 2016 we recognized Ernest Alexander in this community as being he got the Chairman's Award in January 2017 because of his work in this community. So I remember all the things he's done. And the Kinloch Price Boys Ranch, it is you guys have 3 facilities there, is that right?
We have 4.
4 now.
Yes.
And so there's roughly 40 or so
We serve up to 28 boys at a time, and we're also serving kids in emergency placements. So some nights just 34 boys on the property.
And these are primarily foster kids that are children in need of care, primarily, right?
That's correct.
So connected to that, and I've been saying this for a long time, I agree with what Commissioner Beatty said. I think foster care is one of our biggest problems of our state. I think this is a county commission issue. And in that line, I think that I've said this before, just want to take just a moment to say that our criminogenic youth are being placed in foster care, and it's creating a bit of a problem for the foster placements. And so we have a loss of foster homes in our community because of that situation. So to remedy that, we have House Bill 2021 has been introduced this year, and I expect we'll see a hearing in the next 2 weeks in Topeka. So that will impact the issue I just described, and so I will be involved in that, hopefully testifying in favor of that bill. So I just wanted to mention that. But again, thank you so much for all you do. Appreciate each one of you.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't see any other comments. Van, Robert, Joy, we like if you'd come down with the proclamation. Let's do a photo. Well done. Hey, Van.
Good to see you, Van.
Good to see you, sir.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Thanks again. Congratulations. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Appointments, item C, accept resignation of ANDREE SISCO from the Sedgwick County Advisory Council on Aging and Physical Disabilities.
Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Justin Wagner, Deputy County Counselor. The item in front of you is the resignation of ANDREE SISCO from the Sedgwick County Advisory Council on Aging and Physical Disability. She is Commissioner Howell's appointee, one of 3 appointees to this board that each of the commissioners have. And she has submitted her resignation. The recommended action is to accept that resignation.
Okay, Mr. Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. So I just want to say thank you to ANDREE SISCO. She's been tremendous. She has a great perspective. She's very dedicated and faithful, but she has other things that are conflicting in her life right now, so she needs to step down. But I want to say thank you to her. She's been tremendous. And to the public, I have an opening, so if anybody wants to serve in this role on the Aging and Physical Disabilities Council, I'd like to have someone reach out to me. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to accept the resignation of ANDREE SISCO off this board.
I'll second that. Any other comments? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty,
Aye.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
New business, item D, discussion of 2023 holidays.
Sheena, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Sheena Schmitz, Chief Human Resources Officer. On November 16th, 2022, we presented the 2023 holidays to the Commission. At that time, the Commissioners approved 10 paid holidays, including New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day and the day after, and Christmas Day. This was the first change to our holidays as we approved Juneteenth and dropped President's Day as a paid holiday. The Commission has requested we bring this before you again for discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Sheena. Commissioner Beatty.
Yeah, thank you, Sheena. I appreciate that and appreciate the opportunity to actually have this conversation again. I was actually sitting out there the last time this conversation took place. So I'm going to make a motion today and contend for bringing President's Day back into Sedgwick County as a paid holiday. And I'm looking at considering this on three areas in particular. The first is what we've been talking about a lot, which is the stability of our staff. If staffing morale and staffing instability is an issue, and we all believe that it is, and if staffing stability is a top priority, I think this is low-hanging fruit. I think this really is an easy win that we can bring this back in and send a strong signal to our staff at Sedgwick County, the nearly 3,000 employees, that we see this as a priority. We see this as an area that we're working towards shoring up. So I see it as an easy win. I see it as low-hanging fruit. The second thing is I think that this can make financial sense now. I think we've all seen data. We just had the December report that came through. I've seen some data that suggests that even what we're seeing now in numbers compared to just a few months ago, that we can financially make this adjustment and it makes financial sense. We're seeing some things, and I know Lindsay's here today, but I saw some things in retail sales and use tax up 10% compared to last year. Expenditures down in most funds 11%. So I think financially it makes sense. And lastly, I think just looking at the peer study and looking at our comparables, particularly with the city of Wichita that does have 12 paid holidays, including President's Day. So I see this, and what I'm urging is that we send a loud, clear message to our employees of Sedgwick County that we see this need. Staffing stability is a top priority, and this is an easy win that I think will really resonate with the employees that serve our county. I also know in 2024 as we head in that we may not have a whole lot of easy wins in 2024. So what I'm contending for is looking at this as an opportunity to send a clear signal, and it makes sense to do so. So thank you, Sheena.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. And I've had a virtual light turned on by Commissioner Lopez. Wants to say something?
Thank you so much. I just want to really quick state that I do have to leave a little early and get back to the NICU so I can feed the babies on time. But I want to just agree with everything that Commissioner Beatty just stated. I think if we look at, what our priorities have been over the last couple of years, morale and really doing right by our staff is a top one of those. And so I completely agree with everything that you just said and would like to make my vote or no, since I'm not going to be able to stay on while you guys are having that. But I support this and would like to vote aye if that's possible now to pass President's Day as a paid holiday.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you.
If there's not any other comments, okay. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a couple questions. So, Commissioner Beatty, you mentioned 12 holidays in Wichita versus the 11 in front of us on this sheet here. This one shows the 11 holidays that are proposed today if we were to add President's Day back in. And you said Wichita has 12. Do they have something in addition to this list?
They have President's Day today.
I understand that, but that's on this list. That's one of the 11 here. This is shown on this list here.
No, they have 12. We have 11, sorry.
Right. So they have another one on top of this. What else do they have here that's in addition to this list here?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
I do have a list
Sheena
if you'd
has
like
the
that.
list. Great.
The City of Wichita holidays include New Year's Day, Memorial Day. Let me start and go in order. I'm sorry. New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. birthday, President's Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, the day after Thanksgiving, and Christmas Day, plus one personal holiday.
Is that one personal holiday like a floating holiday?
So it's just like a discretionary day.
Okay. Well, earlier when we talked about this, we talked about the complexity of adding a floating holiday. And I know that from the manager's perspective, it may be challenging to do that. And from HR's perspective, it may be challenging. But there's a lot of people, there's a lot of companies in the private sector that do have floating holidays. And so I guess, are we making any progress moving towards a floating holiday option?
I think that staff is having discussion about that with a manager. I might turn that over to him to answer.
Commissioner, we are having discussion about that. I mean, I came from the city system. The personal holiday is basically just another vacation day. Employee can use that any day of the 365 that they choose to do so. When you talk about floating holiday, if you're talking about just adding another day, I think we can manage that. If you're talking about not recognizing a holiday or two or three and then putting a floater in instead, that's where the management challenge and the staffing challenge and the operation of the business becomes more challenging. We can visit all of that. I think we'll have more information for you as we go through the budget process in 24, and we can talk about that.
When this was presented first time, one of the things that was presented to us was, I think the question that was asked by our management team to our employees was, do you want to have another holiday? And of course, I wasn't surprised that people would certainly want to have another holiday. But I think if you would ask the question, would you prefer President's Day or Juneteenth, it might be a different answer. I just don't know. I think people value different things for different reasons. But if we could go back to that day and have a floating holiday option, I would have preferred that. And that wasn't an option at the time. And I think as the motion was presented, I obviously could not vote no. But I guess there is a cost to this. Can you please remind us the cost of adding a holiday versus what's the total cost of I guess there's two ways to look at this. There's embedded costs we have no matter what, whether we show up to work or not, and there's also additional costs for overhead, for overtime and things like that. So you can please describe those two numbers, please.
So those numbers are the actual work on the holiday, the total added cost, which is wages plus payroll taxes, is $168,969. That's the additional cost on the day.
Okay, and what is it if you include the base cost of a day at Sedgwick County? What's that?
That total cost is $828,539. That does include the 168.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Commissioner Beatty?
Yeah, Lindsay, I think we've done a really good job. This commission's done a really good job historically of being good stewards over the budgets. And I think our financial rating speaks to that, and a credit to your staff and a credit to previous commissions as well. But from an advice standpoint, do you have any reservations about this?
Honestly, no, I don't. So a lot of that comes back to the December report that you referenced. So if we look at the county general fund, even though it is still early days yet, we have not been through an audit, we wound up with a surplus of $6 million. We brought in more revenues, largely because of that 10% increase in retail taxes, which we did not expect to be sustained throughout the full course of 2022. And so because of that, when you think about, after all of the pay adjustments and things that we've done in the last year that you all have done, 1% in property tax funds, just a 1% wage increase, comes to $1.3 million. And so when you're talking about a meaningful way to spend money, in a way that doesn't increase costs. If we add vacation time, if someone leaves, we pay that out. That increases costs. There's other things like that. I think this is something where we can get a good bang for the buck, and we are able to financially sustain this. I know that there's more conversation to be had, but at least for 2024, we're well positioned to do this year.
Okay, any other conversation? I don't see any. Mr. Beatty?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to add President's Day back to the calendar as an approved Sedgwick County government paid holiday.
And I'll second that. Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm a little disappointed that we're bringing this back up so soon after we've already discussed it at length. I also am very worried about the future, where we're talking about $9 million deficit in 2024, $20-some million deficit in 2025, as I recall. And we're looking at $800 and some thousand expense for doing what is being proposed today. I just don't think it's the right time. I think that what we need to do is take a look at this issue in a little bit more detail. We just voted on this. We just established the 2023 schedule of vacations and days off. I don't understand why we can't take 2023 and see how we go through this, because we just voted on it. And at the same time, task our staff to go back and figure out how that we can do a floating day so that the people can choose which one that they would like to have. This gives you an entire year until November next year when we adopt the next calendar. And I don't understand why that our staff, they're a great staff, and they can't come up with an idea on how that they can put together a floating holiday so that the public, our employees can pick it. So therefore, I make a substitute motion, and I move that we leave the 2023 calendar as is, and we task the staff to come up with a solution for a floating holiday for 2024 and beyond. Thank you.
Okay. There's a substitute motion. I don't hear a second yet, but Mr. Beatty.
Comment on the substitute.
Okay. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. Just as a question, I completely understand, and I think I agree with the comments of Commissioner Dennis. I would say that if we, as a way to get through 2023, I would be okay with adding President's Day in this one time, with the expectation that we will have a floating holiday option before we discuss holidays in 2024. So I would ask for maybe a slight amendment to his substitute motion.
Okay. What would your Commissioner Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can understand Commissioner Howell's concerns, and I don't object to that. To go through 2023 with adding one, it's going to cost us $800 and some thousand to do that. But I want to review this and have a firm decision in November of 2023 on how that we can put together a floating holiday instead of permanent holiday. I'll amend my motion. Thank you.
I'll second that.
So the amended motion is, you want to repeat that for the record? Or would you like Commissioner to repeat it? Okay.
My amended motion is that we take Commissioner Beatty's idea for 2023 and add back President's Day. And we have a proposal in November of 2023 for a floating holiday in lieu of either President's Day or Juneteenth.
Okay. That's the motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. Motion is second. Any other comments?
I want to make sure I fully understand that. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I'm kind of cutting out a little bit here. So we're going to do it as Commissioner Beatty proposed, looking at 2024 to make that change to a floating holiday. Or is it 2023 to have a floating holiday?
Commissioner Lopez, I understand that the interpretation of the motion, from my understanding, is we will add President's Day into this year, 23, and in November of 23, we have instructed staff to review a floating holiday and potentially even replacing a floating holiday for one of the two holidays mentioned, Juneteenth or President's Day. But we would cover that, I understand, in our November of 23 meeting. And I'm getting head shakes of acknowledgement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I don't see any. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty,
Aye.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Commissioner Lopez, I understand you've got to depart pretty quick.
I do, yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate letting me join again this morning. I wanted to make sure that I was able to vote on that. So have a good rest of your meeting, and I'm sure I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay. And thank you. And tell Brent to make sure he, helps you out a little bit and stuff like that, okay?
Okay, I'll make sure. I just turned it up so he could hear you say that. So,
Okay. All right.
all right. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
Congratulations again. And
I
best luck.
appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Bye.
So for the record, she's absent now. Okay. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item E, contract for the acquisition of emergency services, Post 4.
Okay. Good morning, Andrew Diltz. Welcome to the meeting.
Good morning, Commissioners and Chairman. Andrew Diltz, Director of Facilities, here to present Sedgwick County EMS Post 4 acquisition. A little bit of the background. EMS has leased this facility, the EMS Post 4 facility, from Ascension via Christie for 24 years. The location is optimal geographically for ambulance deployment. It does have a facility on the parcel. It's just over 1,300 square feet. It's a single bay, built in 1999. With our current agreement with Via Christie, there is very limited revenue for the landlord, and maintenance issues have gone back and forth a little bit between the landlord and the county. Since the county doesn't own the building, we are trying to avoid a situation where we're putting money into significant repairs in a facility that we don't own. So there's some discrepancy there on how we're going to proceed going forward. This location has an increasing demand on EMS services since it is a leased location and the revenue is limited for the landlord. Actually enlarging the facility is, we're kind of limited on our potential there. There is a CIP on the watch list to purchase property for EMS Post 4 and build a facility with 2 bays and adequate crew quarters. Seeing as how this is on the watch list, there is no current funding. However, the landlord is willing to sell the current parcel to the county, and that purchase agreement will include multiple lots for a total of just over half an acre with the single bay facility and the parking lot. We did have a real estate agent take a look at what this property would bring in as far as a value in the private market, and that price was over $57,000. The purchase agreement presented to the county is for $45,000. And I have a CIP amendment on the consent agenda today for $55,000. That's going to cover, the funding source is going to be a CIP contingency. And that will include the purchase price of $45,000 plus any incidental recording fees or any other incidental costs that we may come into. And then the remaining balance of the CIP amendment will be returned back to CIP contingency. I have an aerial view of the parcel of all 3 lots. This is at the intersection of, I believe it is Zimmerly Street and Clifton. And then you have the view on the right. You can see St. Joe Hospital. This is right up the street on Clifton from St. Joe Hospital. And you have Harry Street here on the south. And I will stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. And I assume that EMS is thumbs up on this? Okay.
Yes, EMS supports the purchase.
Okay, that was all the question. Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. Actually, I started talking with Andrew and Tanya and the manager about this a couple months ago. And it's a great opportunity for the community and for Sedgwick County. The price is right, the location is right. EMS agrees with the decision, and I think that this is an absolute right decision for us to move forward with that. So unless there are other comments, I'm ready to make a motion to approve.
Please do.
Thank you. I move that we take the recommended action and acquire the emergency medical services EMS post in District 1.
I'll second that. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. I do agree with the motion. I'm glad to support that this morning. One question. I assume we'll have a plan to amend our CIP to renovate this building fairly soon.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be our next step.
I just want to say I think there's about 2 or 3 of our EMS posts that are pretty dire that need some help, and this is one of those. And so I very much support this. It's excellent location, as Commissioner Dennis said. We certainly need this. The price is certainly right, but we do need to make sure that this is a good working space for our EMS staff. So I do want to see a CIP to get this cleaned up pretty quickly. So thank you for that. I appreciate the motion. I'll be voting yes.
Okay, any other comments? I don't see any. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. And for that vote, it's recorded that Commissioner Lopez is not present. Okay, thank you. Next item, please.
Item F, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts, regular meeting on January 12th, 2023.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The regular meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts on January 12th, we considered 4 items that we're now recommending for your approval. First item is 2023 crack seal for Public Works, and this recommendation is to accept the low responsible and responsive bid from Scodeller Construction Incorporated in the amount of $597,025.60. Item number 2 is Sedgwick County Public Safety Center dispatch furniture for emergency communications. This recommendation is to accept the low bid from Watson Furniture Group, doing business as Watson Consoles, primary bid in the amount of $746,198.71. Our third item, liquid propane for various departments. And this recommendation is to accept the bid from Central Gas Services, LLC, and establish contract pricing for 1 year with 4 one-year options to renew at the rates listed in the table. And our final item is the on-call press printing services for various departments. And this recommendation is to accept the bids from City Print Incorporated and Valley Print Logistics at the firm fixed rates listed for a period of 6 months, and the contract period that we'll establish will be for 1 year with 4 one-year options to renew. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, and I recommend approval.
Okay, are there any other questions? Joe, thanks for the presentation, thorough presentation as always. Any
No questions. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the recommendations of the Board of Bids and Contracts.
Okay, I'll second. Any other comments, questions? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks again, Joe. Madam Clerk, next item.
Consent agenda.
Mr. Manager.
Good morning, Chairman, Commission. Tom Stolz, County Manager's Office, recommend approval of consent items G through M this morning.
Okay, so any questions on items G through M? I don't see any, and with that, I will make a motion that we approve consent items G through M.
Second.
Motion and a second. Being no questions, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. Commissioner Dennis, remind me, is this when I recess to fire? Okay. I just tried to get, couldn't remember, I see the few. All right. At this time, we want to recess the Board of County Commission meeting and call to order the Fire District number 1 meeting for today. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Roll call. Commissioner Dennis,
Present.
Commissioner Beatty,
Present.
Commissioner Howell,
Present.
Chairman Meitzner.
Present. Next item, please.
Public agenda.
Does anybody from the public want to address the commission on the Fire District number 1? And I don't see any unless you want to, Sheena. No, I'm kidding.
No,
All right. All right. Next item, please.
Consideration of minutes.
Commissioners, you have the chance to review the minutes. Are there any additions or deletions from that? I don't see any. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty,
Abstain.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Motion barely carries. Okay. Next item, please.
New business. Item B, discussion of 2023 holidays.
Thank you. Sheena, welcome back to the podium.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is the same item we discussed in the regular board meeting in regards to the 2023 holiday, and I suggest that we use the same motion that we used before for the fire agenda.
Okay. Commissioner Dennis?
Good recommendation, Sheena. I was going to make that motion.
Second that.
Okay. There's a motion in a second that repeats the motion from the previous on the open meeting. So any questions, comments? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty,
Aye.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheena. Thanks for all the work you've done on this. Okay. Next item, please.
Item C, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts, regular meeting on January 12th, 2023.
I'm
Good
back.
morning again, Joe.
For the record, Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The regular meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts of January 12th, sitting for the Fire District number 1, has the recommendation to accept the bid from Envina Corporation doing business as emergency fire equipment, and this is in the amount of $62,668. And be happy to answer any questions you may have, and I recommend approval of this item.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions on that? I don't see any. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. No other comments. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Beatty,
Aye.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye.
Thank you again.
Motion carries. Thanks again, Joe. Okay. Next item, please.
Legislative issues.
Okay. Is there legislative issues related to fire? This is Fire District 1.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Tanya Cole.
Yeah.
I do not have anything related to fire this morning on legislative updates.
Okay. Next item, please.
Other.
Does anybody have anything under other? Commissioner Dennis.
Oh, thank you. We did have a graduation here last week for fire. I want to congratulate the 4 new firefighters that are now part of Sedgwick County Fire District number 1.
That's a great recognition. And Commissioner Beatty.
Yeah, just clarity. We're working on appointments to the steering committee. Is there a deadline that's been established to when those appointments need to be made? It came up in the SCAC meeting. I know the county has 2 appointments ourselves. Do we know when that deadline is supposed to be?
I'm going to look to Rusty. I don't think we have a deadline. I think we're working our way through that, and when it's ready for the commission, we'll bring it back.
Yeah, that's a good point, Commissioner Beatty, because I think that SCAC and some of the small other cities were either, none of them really had moved forward as well.
There was significant
So-
conversation and significant interest. I was at the Mays City Council meeting on Monday night, and they had some questions as well. So I'll relay that over. But it might be wise to establish that deadline relatively soon so that we can get to moving forward.
Right. I would just add to that. I think we all were there. There's a consensus that this board is not, I don't want to use the word stacked, but influenced by just one industry or one. So maybe if we ask we can meet on this, but maybe we ask a deadline for the cities to submit, and then that way we can maybe balance out if there's any, and that way we go last, but we ask them to please submit, something like that. Because
We'll set a deadline and
yeah.
work it out.
Because if we get ahead of the game, then maybe they, okay, you agree? Agree? Okay, thanks for bringing that up. Oh, the floor
Good
recognizes.
morning, Commission. Doug Williams, Fire Chief.
Thanks for being there Saturday too as well.
Yeah, thank you. When we sent out the letters to the individual cities, the Bel Air, Hayesville, Goddard, the 5, we requested that they submit their appointment to us by the end of February.
Okay.
So the thought process was to have all of those done by the end of February so we could present them to the fire board in March for approval or appointment. And the 2 outlying, we started advertising, and once again, we want to have those back by the end of February so that we can present them to you in March.
Okay, so we have that step already done. So thanks, Chief. Thanks for updating us on that.
Sorry, I didn't see the chief back there. We can do that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's good. Very good. Okay. Thank you. And thanks, Commissioner Beatty, for bringing that to our attention. Commissioner Dennis.
Well, thank you. One of the things that was brought up during Sedgwick County Association of Cities meeting was making sure that we don't stack that entire board with firefighters, that we have a cross-section. So what kind of guidelines do we have in place to make sure that we have a broad variety of people that are serving on that committee rather than all firefighters or all businessmen and so forth?
Well, other than that,
Now that I know the chief's here, I will reference him, but clearly the commission has final call on this. So until you are satisfied, we will continue to whittle away on that. But Chief, do you want to add in there?
Well, yeah, I think during that meeting on Saturday, when the SCAC group made a appointment of a firefighter, and of course the resolution for the steering committee does not allow any Sedgwick County firefighters to serve, so they're out, period. But the appointment from SCAC is a Wichita firefighter, and then Hayesville has also made an appointment of a Wichita firefighter. So we do know that there's possibility of 2 out of 9. As you guys there at SCAC on Saturday, it was pretty apparent that the Bel Airs and the Park Cities and Mazes made comments that they don't want to see a whole board of firefighters. So I really don't believe we're going to see that coming from those cities. We had conversations, I know Commissioner Howell and I did, when we were working on this early on, to actually, I see a little bit of conflict of interest with firefighters from whether it be Wichita or Valley Center or Colwich or anybody, because, you know, they do have a vested interest in their careers or their volunteer departments if they would be on this panel. But we didn't put that restriction in because we felt that the cities had the right to pick who they wanted. I believe was how we ended that with Commissioner Howell. But I do think you got, obviously, the at-large people, you guys will eventually vote on the board. So I don't foresee any more, with the comments I heard Saturday, I don't foresee any more than the 2 firefighters being on the board.
I think that's a good update. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple clarifications. So the gentleman that was appointed on Saturday at SCAC, he also has an MBA. He is also on the city council for his city. So I think he brings some other things to the board, which I think was recognized in the choice to appoint him. So let's, I want to make sure we, understand he brings more to the table than just being a firefighter. But as these folks are appointed, we've not accepted the nominations as a fire board, but I do think it's reasonable to let other appointee cities or whoever to know who else has been appointed, and maybe a short resume saying, a firefighter, city council member, MBA, was appointed by SCAC. And so, again, when Hayesville makes their appointment, it'd be nice for them to know that. So I think that as information is developing, I think we should just send that information out to the remaining nominee opportunities, and so that they understand who else is actually on this board. I think that'd be reasonable to do that.
Yeah, we can do that. Like I say, Hayesville brought theirs out at the SCAC meeting, and And we've also heard from Goddard. They have not made the official appointment, but they told me who they're going to appoint. It sounds like it's their assistant city manager. So
I think Spirit's also identified their nominee as well.
Yes,
So I
they
think
have.
we're about half there, so thank you.
Okay. So there's no official breakdown to answer your question, but I think there's probably a message, Chief, you and Rusty can convey that if we already have two out of the that are firefighters, that the commission in general is very concerned that it doesn't expand beyond that.
Well, and you're voicing our concerns also, because we want the steering committee to be well respected by the fire board.
Correct.
And if we have a whole steering committee of firefighters, then we come with their recommendations. I could see where you might say, oh, yeah, sure. So,
right. I get it.
So we don't want that either.
Okay. Well, very good discussion and update. Rusty, did you have anything to add?
I think Commissioner Howell may have covered it, but I just wanted to clarify a point, and maybe legal counsel can clarify this. But as I read the resolution, each of the 5 cities is going to recommend an appointment. The aircraft industry is going to recommend an appointment, but ultimately the fire board will ratify and approve those. And if you find that it's not, if you find that some appointments aren't desirable, you could ask them to submit a second, because you ultimately will have the final say. Is that correct, Justin?
I would concur with that. I think that's correct.
But it sounded like at the SCAC meeting on Saturday, it sounded like a lot of those cities wanted some diversity. They wanted some finance and business perspective, so that as they analyze the way the fire district operates, that they can give best advice to the fire board of the commission. So that was the only point I wanted to make.
Right. So in summary, there's 4 cities still to submit, and plus Spirit, or 3 cities in Spirit, or the Spirit and Textron. Okay. And then our appointments. Okay. Thank you. Excellent discussion and excellent points. Any other comments under other on the Fire District Board? No executive session on that, so we will adjourn the Fire Board and return back to the County Commission agenda. Next item, please.
Legislative issues.
Legislative issues.
Good morning, Tanya.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Tanya Cole, Assistant County Manager. For legislative update, just will mention that last week was the first week of the session, and that started out a little bit slow. There were very few bills introduced and none that were related to local government. However, last week we did receive out of the revisor's office and from Jason Watkins our county fund bill, which is related to code enforcement, equipment reserve, and opioid settlement funds that Nicole just provided you a copy with. So we did have our Deputy County Councilor Justin Wagner and our CFO Lindsay Poverso take a look at that. They were good with how that bill looks, and so we gave that comment back to Jason. And so that was introduced this morning into the House Local Government Committee. And so after that, it will receive a bill number, and then it will be assigned to a committee for hearing. And so we will be sure and be prepared to be part of those hearings once that we get that assigned. Another bill worth mentioning is the bill requiring runoff elections for any statewide office where the general election fails to award over 50% to any candidate. So that's similar as to what happens in the state of Georgia. So just wanted to mention that. Last week, Governor Kelly put out her 2024 proposed budget of $24.1 billion, and which of that $9.4 billion would come out of the state general fund. Some of the highlights of her budget includes more than $500 million in tax cuts, a 5% across the board pay raise for state employees, acceleration in the reduction of food sales tax to 0, a 4-day back-to-school tax holiday, adding $500 million to the budget stabilization fund, and a one-time expenditures aimed at reducing millions of dollars in interest payments. So just wanted to mention that. And then as far as looking ahead on dates, I want to mention again that her State of the State is scheduled for January 24th at 6:30 p.m. Also, January 25th, KEC will have Local Government Day in Topeka, and that's from 1 to 7. I think I provided you with that, so I think that's on all of your calendars. January 31st is the last day for individual legislators to request a bill. And then also January 31st, I have placed on all of your calendars. That will be our date in Topeka with the South Central delegation. We'll have a reception with Watkins Public Strategies from 5 to 7 in Topeka. And so that will give us an opportunity to work with our legislators on our legislative platform. And then just want to mention to the public that you can receive a lot of information on the website kslegislator.org. And also you're able to watch and listen to House and Senate hearings on the legislators' YouTube channel. And again, you can get that on kslegislature.org. And so I'm happy to stand for any questions or anything you'd like to address as far as our legislative platform.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just, I missed the date you said, the South Central Legislative Delegation Day is what day?
Yes, that is, excuse me, January 31st, and that's
Okay.
from 5 to 7 in Topeka.
Okay. And that's a Wednesday.
That
So
is
we
a
will not have
Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday.
That's a
Oh, that's
Tuesday
right. That is a
evening.
Tuesday. Okay. I've been communicating with Chairman Stephen Owens and the Juvenile Corrections Committee, and they are going to schedule a hearing on House Bill 2021 for Monday, January the 30th at 1:30. And so I'd like to see the county keep that clean so we can be in person in Topeka. They are doing WebEx testimony, but it's better to be there if you can. So I'd like to ask the commission to keep that clean so I can, and others that may want to testify in person in Topeka can actually travel there to do that. So that's a request.
Commissioner, could you repeat that date one more
It's
time?
January the 30th, Monday, January the 30th at 1:30.
Thank you.
And he's committed to that. So that will be the date. He's asking for Sedgwick County to make a good show of support for that bill. I did meet with a couple of staff yesterday. I think we have a couple of amendments we're going to recommend, and so I'll be working on my testimony. Hopefully have those amendments drafted before our testimony on the 30th. But I think that bill is going to move forward. So I'm very excited about that. Senate Bill 2, which is from Senator Aletha Fasco on suspended driver's license issues, that's in the Senate. It's not been scheduled for a hearing yet, but it's in the Senate Transportation Committee. I expect we'll see a hearing on that as well coming up. I don't know the date yet. So that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. A question on this handout that and I just quickly perused it. So two questions. So I assume that Representative Berquist has reviewed the opioid settlements, I think, have restrictions around what you can and can't do. So I'm assuming that this bill is not in conflict with what the actual settlement is.
And Chairman Justin Wagner, Deputy County Councilor, this is consistent with a requirement in the MOU that the Attorney General's office reached with municipalities.
Okay.
Counties don't have the independent statutory authority to create special revenue funds, and so this would make this in line with that MOU that the AG's office reached with municipalities. We could create a fund to place that money into. You are correct that there are restrictions on how that money can be spent, the opioid settlement money. But this would make us consistent with what the AG had in mind on that.
Okay. So this is adding counties to the municipality.
That's correct.
Okay. And then we have not had our workshop about what direction we want to go. So I just want
24th.
And
Break that down.
24th, okay. Then I see there's a lot of may provide, maybe, that it's not instructing, it's not a shall do this or that, it's a you may do this or that. So, okay, good to know. Commissioner Howell?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Just on that question, this bill was introduced a little bit late in last session, so we're a bit behind, but our lobbyists have told us it's really non-controversial. I expect this will pass with unanimous support in the House and Senate. This is not controversial. This is really about financing with the counties giving us the tools we need to have these reserve funds. And right now, as it sits, we can't do what cities can do. So this really just helps us with our CFO and her office to manage the money of these funds.
Thank you for clarification and the report. Any other comments on legislative? Being none. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yep, thank you. There was we don't have to receive and file, so I don't think. It's all right. Madam Clerk, next item.
Committee reports.
Does commissioners have anything to report on their committees? We will be, just on committees, we will be circling the wagons. I know with Commissioner Lopez in her current committees and her situation right now, so we'll be getting around with all of us and seeing what committees, so as we go forward in 23. Commissioner Howell?
I'll just, thank you, Chairman. Just wanted to, we have, I'm on one of the committees I serve on is the Law Enforcement Training Center Committee, and very pleased to report that it's working fantastic. That's been there, I think, 5 years now, and so it's working well. They have a lot of classes in moving forward right now. 911, of course, does their secondary operational center there, but they also do the training there. So that law enforcement training center has just been tremendous for this community. And although we've had the Wichita police chief has been replaced, and we have a new personality there, it's still working very, very well. And Sheriff Easter and others just wanted to. I just want to say that it seems like we have a very good thing going on out there, and they're very effective. It's just been a tremendous experience working with Wichita State University, and all the people involved in that has just been fantastic for this community. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any other comments on committee reports? I don't see any. Next item, please.
Other.
Other. Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One other event that we had an opportunity to go to last week was the promotion ceremony for EMS, and I want to congratulate each and every one of the EMS individuals that received promotion. It was very nice seeing Kevin Lannerman walking around with his stars on instead of oak leaves, so that was very nice. But besides that, we had, I don't remember how many there were well over 20 people that were promoted, so it's fantastic, and congratulations to each and every one of them.
Very good. You have any other? I was gonna mention that as well. It was just a nice week last week to witness the fire graduations and then the EMS promotions. I don't know, Sheena, how the HR's feeling, but it was. I think the momentum is positive, and then finally the recognition ceremony was maybe they're all like that, but it was surprisingly positive. The mood in the auditorium was well received, at least from my perspective. I think the commissioners, we all commented afterwards that it was a nice deal. Yeah, and we had Lindsay Hall sitting in row 2, leading the cheerleading efforts on most departments. And but it was. I just want to say thank you and share that for that. And then my final comment is I just want to officially welcome again our new commissioner Ryan Beatty to the commission, and thank you for your. As most of you know, he's done a real deep dive on many of the departments, and I think he's going to bring a valuable asset to our future. So I just wanted to officially welcome you. So, and Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. So yeah, you guys, we celebrated the EMS promotions and our fire graduates, and you just now mentioned our recognition, but I want to just point out the service awards. We had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35-year awards, and there's a lot of people. And I was just so happy to see our employees, their faithfulness to Sedgwick County, their long-term service. And I thought it was really interesting, and I have some perspective because, of course, I've been in the private sector and I've seen things like that not go so well. And my takeaway from our ceremony over there was not we're trying to recognize our employees, but the employees were just really excited, and they celebrated many of the people, their colleagues, and sometimes even the managers. They were celebrated like they were rock stars. It was really good to see that. And so I'm just thrilled to see that the morale of Sedgwick County is upward, and appreciate HR for putting that together. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Very good. Is there any other comments? Manager, anybody? Okay. Our first meeting is officially adjourned. Take care, everybody.